Hello, everyone, and welcome to our Bright Ideas session, where we will be showcasing how to personalize all of the learning with Brightspace tools. And we are very excited to have you join us today. Before we get started, I want to let you know of a few housekeeping items. Closed captions are available in Zoom. If you click on the ellipses labeled More, you can turn them on or off depending on your needs. Today's session is being recorded and it will be posted on the Bright Ideas for K12 YouTube playlist, and you can expect to see that video posted within about a week. And in the coming days, we'll send all registrants an email with a link to that playlist, a copy of the slide deck that I'm presenting today, which also contains additional resources, and a copy of the question and answer from today's session. And so on that note, we have our Zoom Q&A box, which is open for any questions that you have today throughout the session. Please keep your questions specific to today's topic, and we will do our best to answer any questions during the session. But if you don't see your answer while we're here together, please be sure to check out that question and answer report that we do send out. So we'll kick things off here with our agenda. We'll start with some introductions and clarifying some of our D2L terms. Then we'll have an overview of release conditions and intelligent agents. And from there, we'll have a demonstration. And during that time, we welcome you to follow along and practice some of the things being shown. And to wrap up, I'll point you to some additional resources and we'll host a discussion and have some time for questions. My name is Heather, and I am a customer success specialist here at D2L. And joining me today are my colleagues Victoria, Lou, Sebastian, and Sophie, who will be helping answer your questions today. And it is also my pleasure to introduce our main presenter today, Clint, from South Island Distance Education School. Clint has been teaching for over 30 years, with the past 17 focused on helping students succeed online in chemistry, math, and physics. He's passionate about making digital learning interactive and meaningful, and he enjoys sharing practical strategies for engagement with other educators. Clint also works with schools and organizations to design training that supports effective, connecting online learning. So we're really happy and lucky to have Clint here today. Before we get too far, I just want to get us aligned on some of the terms here on the screen. So D2L is the company that my colleagues and I work for, and Brightspace is our product, which is a learning management system. And depending on where you work, you might call your Brightspace instance something different like the VLE or iLearn NYC. And although your learning management system may go by a different name, they all refer to Brightspace. And finally, Brightspace Community is D2L's free online website where members can find great teaching and learning information, share best practices, and connect with other professionals using Brightspace. We will add a link to the chat for you to register if you are not yet a member. So without further ado, I am going to pass things over to Clint. And Clint, you can go ahead and share your screen now.
Just getting it turned on there. Okay. Can you all see that?
It's just loading up for us, and there we go. We're all set.
Okay.
Take it away.
Hello, everybody. I'm Clint Surrey. I teach at South Island Distance Education School in Victoria, BC. Intelligent agents and release conditions are two of my favorite tools to work with in D2L. They open up so many possibilities. They give you a lot of ability to have some personalization. So what we're going to do today is have a quick look at how we can use intelligent agents and release conditions. We'll get a little practical example and try to identify one or two things that you might find useful that you can do with them. And pardon me a sec. There we are. So intelligent agents, what are they? They are a tool that allows you to automate a certain process. You set up a condition, something that is going to be watched for. When your computer, your Brightspace, your Brightspace instance will monitor for that specific condition that you're looking at. It will evaluate if that student has met however you set up the criteria. Sometimes they've done better than something. Sometimes they've done not as well at something. They haven't done something, or they have done something. Those are some of the criteria you can set up. And then what it does is it allows you to do some kind of action. It can set up an email and send a notification to the student, to the parent, to you. It's very flexible in what you can do with that. And then you hope to get an outcome that results from that extra communication, that sending it out. Sorry, I'm a little tongue-tied there. Now, why they matter in K-12, there's a lot of studies that show at-risk students have some warning signs along the way, declining performance. You can have notifications sent to you when certain things happen to remind you early on, particularly in the online world where often class sizes tend to be a little bit larger than regular. It can really watch out for certain things to happen. It allows for a faster response. It allows you to send a relatively personalized response to the student, maybe triggering them to communicate with you. And in general, research seems to say that it has provided improved engagement for those students. A lot of people use them to catch those struggling students and catch the students who are excelling, somebody who is showing above and beyond in a course. They might sometimes get lost because of having to help those who really need it. Equally well, when you've got lots of people excelling, somebody struggling. Both ends can be easily looked for. It can also be a great way to acknowledge small successes along the way as you go through the course. For administration, they often like the fact that it gets a relatively real-time notification out. It can reduce teacher workload if they're set up well, and they are scalable for when your course is an organization. What we're going to do is take a brief look at this, just so you can see how we might be able to use this. And I've got a few examples I'm going to show you. Before we head in, what we're going to look at is I'm going to show you how to get to the intelligent agents, how to set a criteria for them, what the email can do, and set up a schedule for how often it checks for this to occur. So what I'm going to do now is just change over my share here. Now, depending on which version of Brightspace you're looking at, I'm using the new content experience. So it may look a little different than what you have. You might have icons, you might have words. The general structure is similar, but just be aware that these tools might be in a slightly different place. Now, I've got a variety of tools I use all the time, but the one I want to go to first is I'm going to hit the little drop down here and take me to the course administration. So when I go into the course administration, I'm going to scroll down, and I'm going to go look for my intelligent agents, which fall under the communication tab here. So when I click on that, I get my list of intelligent agents. Now, I've got quite a few you can see that are running, and I'm just going to point out a couple things so you keep them in the back of your mind as we look at this tool. You'll notice here that I got a name for it. It says here like 0 identified, 1 identified, 2 identified. This is when the results of the most recent run of checking this intelligent agent. Remember, we're monitoring something, we're evaluating, did they meet a criteria, and then acting on it if they do. So the results of the last run are the ones who met that criteria. It also tells you when the last run occurred and when the next run date's going to be. So I'm going to give you just a real quick example of one of these that we had. Let's take you to a useful one here. Let's see, how about we look at a new student one? I'm going to go into edit, take a look at this, and then we're going to create one of our own. Now, you have a name, you have a description. I haven't put that in there at the moment. Scheduling, this tells how often you do this. Now, depending on how large your institution is and how many students you have in the class, you may want to check with your at the school to make sure you set that time to be one that you're not overloading your system. Okay, that's just an easy thing to ask. Most normal classes, you don't have to worry about this at all. So I've got this one running daily. It happens every day at 7 a.m. and it started a long time ago. The criteria that happens for this, as I've set it for certain roles for the student, and we'll go over that in a minute. And I've selected that they've had to be enrolled in the current class first enrolled one day ago. And then if they meet that criteria, it sends out an email to me to tell me who they are. Now, I'm going to back out of this one for a second, and I'm going to give you an example. We'll build it together, and we'll talk about what that does. So I'm going to hit New Agent. And this will be a sample agent. Now, I do recommend naming your agents even when you're trying them out. I also recommend putting in a description, because if someone else comes along to your course, they might want to understand what it is. It's always a good idea to give a bit of a description. Sometimes in an organization, if things go a long time, maybe this wasn't done and people might forget the whole point of it. There is the ability to use categories if you have them set. You don't necessarily need to. This is an important button as well. The agent is enabled. Don't do that until you're sure you're ready for it to run, because you will get results for it when it does run. So again, scheduling, let's say, I don't know quite how often I want to run this yet. I'll come back to that. I'm going to go to my criteria and think of what I'm looking for. It could be as simple as, have they logged in? Do you need them to log in every day? Did somebody miss today? That kind of thing. Were they doing, now logging in is very different than course activity. Did they actually come in and access your course? Not just log into Brightspace and go to a different course. Those are some common examples, but that's not all. I can go and create other things I might want to watch for instead. And there's a whole list of possibilities here. It's quite incredible. You can look at in the assignments, was something submitted? Did they get feedback on it? Did they get a particular score on a rubric? Was there no submission? And particularly if you are in a sort of a normal traditional school where you've got certain timelines. This was handed out today, it's due this day. That's a great one to see if people have handed in. You can give them reminders. Did they get a particular score in a standard? Have they earned a particular award? You can set up checklists. Did they do certain items? Is the checklist incomplete? Enrollment, competencies, content. Did they visit certain things in the content? That one's a great one, particularly when you get self-paced courses, because maybe a student just goes in and click, 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 click. If they didn't visit certain content topics, they might miss something, so you can have a trigger for that. Discussion posts. And getting results from there, a particular grade on items. So what I'm going to do here is set up one on a value of a particular grade item. I'm going to go take a look at this. And so let's say my density lab, this is one of the first assignments they have in the course. I want to monitor, did anybody get less than 70% on it? I would want to encourage them and give them some extra practice and guidance, because there's many key concepts in that particular assignment I want them to do. So you can use this intelligent agent as a way of noticing that they missed something at that point. It doesn't have to be for that, but that's a great one to use it for. So I decided to do that. How often do I get this lab? Well, because in my case, I'm in a self-paced course. I'm going to run it every day because people come in all the time. I'm going to set it every day. I'm going to set the time it checks this for 12:05 p.m. and just let that, let's get the 05 p.m. or 1 o'clock. Let's do 1 o'clock. That's easier. And I can have it start as of today. Then I'm going to look at, who do I want to be able to do this? I can actually pick specific roles. Now, what this is really useful for is if there's a whole variety of different roles in the organization, maybe you just want to see the students, or in my case, this is pre-activation or students. So I want those two groups to be looked at. And the rest of this I don't need in this example. That's all good. I've got my criteria. Then I need to have an action. And this is where there's all kinds of neat things you can choose to do. I'm going to send an email for sure. And you'll notice here it has my name and my email. In the settings, I can set this so it automatically will tag it's coming from me. And if they hit reply, it comes back to me. Okay. And then now I needed to send it to someone in particular. Oh, but who meets that criteria? There's a really neat tool here where it says special email addresses that I can use. I click on that, and what you're going to see here is there are little tags of things that you can use. So I want the initiating user. That's the person who gets the meets the criteria. Copy that, and I'm going to paste that into here. So it sends them a message. Now, I can also have it send that same message to me so I get a notification of it. So now the other part above, it said it was from me and who to reply to. But if I actually put in my email here, I will also get a copy of this email. And then I would have a subject. And then let's say, can I help you? And then now, I want to have it a little bit more personalized. So I really like these little substitution strings that I'm going to use. So I'm going to go in here and I want to take a particular one like initiating user first name. So this will be, I'm going to just take that little code right from here. I'm going to copy it and then I'm going to paste it in here like this. So now when they get that email, it'll be, can I help you, Bob or Susan or Tim or whoever it is that triggers this. I can also take and put that in here and go, hello, and their name. And then I can type my rest of my message of what I want to send. If there's documents I want to send, I can put them in here too. And then I can hit save. If I think this is all good, I can actually close this and we can do a sample run and go back. And I can turn on the agent. You need that to happen for it to actually run. I'm going to hit save and go back here and I can actually click on that at the bottom here where I just created it. I can do a practice run and it will go and scan and tell you if it works. After that, it will run at its normal scheduled time. Now, I'm going to back up for just a second and take you back to our presentation here. And I'm going to show you another piece that we're going to look at very briefly. Just confirming, can you all see the slide again? Perfect, thank you. So flipping to the next slide is release conditions. They're useful like an intelligent agent, but they're a little bit more specific in where you set them up. Sometimes you can use them to display content that you can have it that they can't see it until certain conditions are met. Or if you have a multi-pathway path through the course, you can have it where it unlocks one part for one person and a different part for another person, and they can interweave throughout. My particular favorite is to set up a digital escape room idea where there's different things that they can meet, and as they get them, different other clues pop up, but it's not just a one way to get there. So it keeps them kind of guessing a little bit. You can have it where it doesn't release quizzes until they've demonstrated that they know the content. It can have specific times. So you have the lesson all ready to go. You have the extra stuff ready to go, and then it only appears at a certain time and place. It can be set for badges. It can be set for enrollments and membership into things. And what I'm going to do is go in now, and I'm going to give you a very quick example of using this in to set up for releasing a unit when work has been completed. So just give me one moment. I'll do that quick, and then we'll. Pardon me just one second here. There we are. That should go now. Perfect. So in this case, I'm going to jump ahead a little bit to my content page. Again, remember, we're in the the new content experience. So this looks a little different even than my other course, but I go into my content, and when this loads, you're going to see samples of different parts of the course. So you can, down the side here in my teacher view, I can see my different units and the likes, but I have, for example, in Unit 1, I've got different activities for them to do. Unit 2 is a different topic. Now, what I want to do is not have them jumping ahead to Unit 2 until they've done something specific from Unit 1. Up here at the start, the three little dots are some of my options for the page. So I'm going to go in here, and currently there's no release conditions to show you, so I'm going to go in and edit. On any content page you go to, you get these wonderful options along the side, and one of them is availability and conditions. So I'm going to open this up. I can limit. One release condition could be the start date it's available and when it goes away. This can be really handy too if there's certain events coming up that you want to have come up and go away again. Sometimes people use it to do things like, hey, Easter's coming, we're doing this activity, or there's a strawberry festival somewhere. Here's some special stuff that's relating the content to that event locally. Now, if I want to add a release condition, I'm going to just go create new. And by the way, if you do a lot of them, you saw that add existing, you can reuse ones if they're relevant later on. So in here, what I decided I wanted to do, I mentioned, is I want to go down to my quizzes and I want to have a particular score on my quiz. So I'm going to select the quiz. Remember, I was talking about Unit 1, so I have my Week 1 quiz. I want them to have a greater than or equal to, well, let's just say they have to pass it first. Let's go with that. I'm going to hit create, and that now is the condition that will unlock this unit to allow them to go to the next step. I can hit save and close. And we'll come back here, and now you're going to see there's that little eyeball, and it's only visible if the conditions have been met. Now, you don't have to go back in to edit, though. If you want to go take a look at the condition, you can just go here and view release condition, and it will tell you. Can you see the pop-up? Perfect. So it will tell you what that condition is. Just like down here at the Unit 3, here's another one. It says, only if you've met the condition, I can go in and view the release condition here. And there's a whole bunch more things that they had to do for that one to unlock. Now, I'm going to show you a couple other real quick things here that can be useful. In this particular course, I'd also set up a welcome widget. This is a wonderful little tool that comes up every time they come to the page. You're not stuck with just one page of this. I've got a few different ones here, but they also have some conditions on them. So here I can flip through and see these are different things that would be triggered at different times that as a student goes through the course. Now, if I go back to the content for just a moment and show you this, what I'm trying to give you the idea is you can choose where you might want to apply these conditions and how they might work. So for example, here's the different 8 slides that I have for my welcome widget. So this the welcome page and the great place to see things coming up page are always there. This one, the academic honesty quiz, that one will show up if they have not got a grade for that particular thing. If I go to the next one, making progress, and check that one out, it has a different criteria to have it. They have to have a greater score on one thing, and they have a grade for another item. So you can see, you can set up these release conditions all throughout. They're really, really quite useful. I'm going to take you back for just one moment. And just make sure I've got that set there. So we looked at that release condition. So these are some practical cases that release conditions and intelligent agents, unlocking lessons in order, unlocking lessons out of order, unlocking lessons in a particular way that meets different things that the students have done, enrichment unlocking. So if you've got students who are really ahead, you can give them things that are triggered because they demonstrate a higher level understanding. Likewise, extra practice if someone should need it. milestones. They've accomplished certain things throughout, acknowledging that in the course. Notification if a to ISTs, student services teachers, if a student is falling below a certain threshold in something that they're there to help them with. If you have attendance, because students have regular times in the class, it's a great way to keep track of things like that. There's a lot of best practices and pro tips. We know these things. Start simple, try something, communicate with students. Do try to think through what the results of it will be before you hit go. And don't be scared if it occasionally makes an oops. It's always a great learning experience, and it's usually a lot of humor along the way. And then another great thing to do is combine these things together. So use one thing to trigger one part, another part to release, and you can combine these ideas together. So monitoring, are they achieving a particular thing? And as I say, I like using it in an academic escape room. Really powerful thing. The intelligent agent gives them sometimes hints, gives them clues that they can go at. The release condition unlocks where they can test out those ideas, and it keeps them engaged. With those replacement strings I showed you in there, it allows you to personalize it so when they get that messaging, it's identifying to them directly. A lot of fun in here. Here's a simple getting started checklist. You'll see this afterwards in the slides when you get them back. And we've gone over these pieces. What I'd like to do is give a chance to get back to Heather, and then we can answer some questions at the end.
Wonderful. Thank you, Clint. All right, folks. So while we go through a last few slides here, we would love if you could take a few moments to fill out our survey. We would love to get your feedback, as this information really helps us to improve our offerings and make sure that we are delivering what it is that you want to see. So if you have your smartphone with you, feel free to scan that and take the survey there, or we have put the link into the chat for you. I also wanted to point out on this slide, we have two links that will direct you to Brightspace Community, where you can learn more about our approach to product feedback and learn more about participating in user experience research. We also invite you to join the D2L Champions program. Being a champion gives you the opportunity to receive points for sharing your experience, providing your feedback, and even for checking out our webinars like this one. You can then redeem these points for swag, gift cards, charity options, and additional D2L services. And you can find the link for the Champions program in the chat. And here is a look at our upcoming session in May. The link to register for this session and the overview page with description will be found in the chat. We are currently in the process of planning our next sessions. So going back to that survey, submitting that feedback really helps us with that planning process to make sure that we are delivering on what you need. And sorry, folks, one more thing on this slide is that our training team also hosts 2 monthly webinar sessions for all Brightspace users. So we have a first one that is a Q&A drop-in session where you can get your Brightspace questions answered in real time. And then we have a second one that is focused on what's new in Brightspace, and that uses our monthly release notes. These sessions give you free access to our D2L training team in a way that you might not get otherwise. So if you are available, be sure to check them out, and you can find a link for more information on those within the chat as well. And I also wanted to share that D2L Fusion is happening in Phoenix in July. Fusion is D2L's annual learning conference, which brings together educators, administrators, and leaders to explore the latest in teaching, learning, and technology. We'll put a link in the chat for registration and additional information. And if you can't join us in person, I encourage you to register for the virtual experience so you can be part of the excitement and see the live stream of our main stage events and explore some on-demand sessions. And then I'm just going to briefly show you these slides because they are going to be in the slideshow that we send out in our follow-up email. So if you're looking for more resources, those are some slides to look at. So thank you all so much for joining us and for engaging in the discussion and asking some questions there. As a reminder, you will be sent an email with a link to our YouTube playlist. And that's where the recording of this will be posted in the next week. And that email will also include a copy of the slide deck, some questions and comments from today, and then a link to our post-session survey as well. And if there is something you saw today that you'd like to learn more about, we encourage you to reach out to your Brightspace administrator at your school or institution, or search the resources within Brightspace community. But thank you all so much for your time, and we really hope to see you next month. Take care.